Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Into the Veil. I'm Rachel, and as a lot of you know, we have had some additions to the family of Sasquatch that we have been working with, and I wondered if I could reach out to Anku, and he's confirming yes. To see if maybe he could give us a little clarity on who's who and how everyone has come together. So we started out last fall, and we distinctly felt the one we call Mama, who has since given us Maya as a name. And we felt a juvenile, and over time we have dubbed him Junior. It's just his personality. He has presented himself on occasion as Joe on the EVP, but still answers to Junior. And then we have whom we started calling Big Daddy, and then he later presented himself as Anku. And all this time I've been thinking that he was the father to this group, and it turns out just a little bit different than I thought. It seemed like for some reason he was hesitant to give us the whole story, in that maybe he thought we wouldn't be comfortable, or it was easier for us to operate with him in that role for us. And he might be right. But the way I'm understanding this, Anku, if you could help me, please. He's been really chatty about this, like it's really been bothering him for us not to know. We know that we have Mama, Maya, and the name Jim, which feels short for a much longer name, but the name Jim keeps coming up, and I believe this is actually Mama's partner. And he's confirming that. And I feel them very close with us even now. And if you see the rod, in fact I have one right behind me. This rod is pointing, hello, directly behind me. Thank you. Is that you, Jim? Well, it seems like everybody's come to the party tonight. Okay, thanks guys. So Jim apparently is the father to Junior, and we know that there are two older siblings to Junior. The girl, the red female, I believe is the oldest. And her name, as it comes across, is Arpina. Thank you. And they're showing me, it's like a visual of the sun. And that may have to do with her color of red. The male, as he's been introduced to us, is Sobe. Thank you. And that has to do with his color, which is, we call him gray, but it's actually more silver. And these guys are, Arpina, he's telling me, is about 20 This one's going behind me over here. 28 comes to mind. Is 28 right? She's about 28. And Sobe isn't. He's about 23. Is that right? Okay. And then there's a little gappage because I feel like Mama lost babies between Sobe and Junior. And Junior is now about 12. Okay. So there's a little gap there. And then we have, of course, the young twins. And that's Martup and Lily. And then we were feeling two smaller babies yet that were only about a year old. And that is Quinn and Duffy. So we've gotten reasonably familiar with them. Jim was the new one for us. So Anku is reminding me that back in, I believe it was April, is that right, Anku? We had, we'd become aware that they had lost an elder. We call it lost. He calls it transitioned. He said you would know him, if you met him, you would call him Mark. And I believe, if I have understood and felt this correctly, that this was Anku's father, whereby that's part of how he became a new elder. And Jim is Anku's brother. Is this correct, Anku? So not quite 2 weeks ago, I kind of picked up on video different presents out there. They were much taller, looked different to me somehow, and I happened to think that they felt like they were new, and it wasn't registering as to where these new people had come from. But Anku has explained that his mate and three children, yes, thank you, have joined here. I don't have an exact location as to where they were, but he brings to mind the Ozarks, like maybe southern Missouri. Is that right? He confirms it. His mate he tells me, is it Mark? Hang on just a second. Margot? Her name resonates with Margot. His eldest son is, the name I'm given sounds like Davida, but he said it would resonate with David. His daughter is trying to get a clear name. He said it's actually a little difficult to say in English, but it would resonate with married. And I feel like he has a younger son. It's S-A-Z Cesar. So, He said the equivalent to this one is Nolan. And I don't know if that's in meaning or in the resonance of the name. But I believe the one that I've seen is the eldest son. And he's very big, but so quiet so far. I'll be curious to see how their personalities kind of come into play as we become more familiar with them. But it feels like Anku and Jim are both. Jim is not an elder, but it feels like they both kind of come in and out a bit, and maybe these guys are there to kind of help protect the family and protect us, the space. Any questions? I'm thinking.
Honestly, I'm going to have a scorecard or write out a picture of the tree and put all the names on it, because that's just way too much to keep up with for my brain.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Unfortunately, Anku is the one that communicates primarily, but I noticed that this left rod just flies all over the place as I mention their names, and I think everyone's energy is present, but as a sign of respect and understanding him to be the